Hello and welcome to another episode of GOA365's Face to Face. Cyber crime, cyber security has become a buzzword today in not only around the globe but also in India. Every second day we hear about some scam happening, people being scammed out of their hard-earned money. People trying to impersonate all the national agencies, law enforcement, and trying to fool people. This has been happening throughout. And it's not only in real life, now even huge movies are being made on this. For an example, is the Beekeeper of Jason Statham, wherein something happened like this in the US. But it's more real. It's more where common people are being in real life are being scammed out of their money. To discuss this is a very good friend of mine, Dr. Harold DeCosta. He is the president of the Cybersecurity Corporation. Doctor, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
He also is the advisor and senior consultant to law enforcement and the judiciary pan-India, where he sits and trains, creates awareness and trains judges, law enforcement. I think he will be able to be more this about that. Welcome back to our thing. We've had a couple of this, but things are, I don't know, getting, I think, more blatant, more open, and huge amounts of money are disappearing from people's pockets, even in Goa. Forget about the rest of India. What do you do first to try and, like, as your part of your profile in training law enforcement, judiciary, that we would like to do, and then explain what are the general things that is happening as the thing goes by.
Yeah, thank you very much. In fact, as far as the work profile goes, I advise the law enforcement agencies, the police, as well as the judiciary point of view in terms of training the judges and also giving my expert opinion in matters where it is related to economic offense or in matters related to cyber frauds. Well, in the past 10 years or so, we have trained almost 12,000 judges in the country, which is almost 1/4 of the population of the judges in our country, and almost about 55 to 60,000 cops. But then all what we do is trying not only to create the awareness among the cops and among the judiciary, but also making them aware that how the investigation has to be done as per the cardinal rules and how the court shall appreciate the investigation which is carried on by the cops. Well, that's something part of my profile, what I do across. Well, coming back to the question, the general trends which are taking place now in the cyberspace. Well, very recently we have now the Bharatiya Sakshi Adhiniyam 2023.
And the old Evidence Act.
No, the old Evidence Act now is being scrapped.
Scrapped, yes.
And now we have the Bharatiya Sakshi Adhiniyam.
What are the differences?
Well, there have been a remarkable difference. The first thing is that when you talk about the Indian Evidence Act, which was there prior to July 1st, 2024, we were not having more emphasis on digital and electronic records.
Okay.
Now Bharatiya Sakshi Adhiniyam, which is enforced from July 1st, 2024, now we have got every single bit of an information, a digital or an electronic record, will now be treated in the same way as a traditional document used to be. So now the digital evidence, electronic record shall not only stand admissible in the court of law, but in a larger case it also shall be appreciated by the court.
What do you mean by digital evidence? And
when I talk about the digital evidence, now it means a printout of an email, locational details, CDR, we are talking about WhatsApp chats, we are talking about SMS, phone call log list. In fact, each and everything, whatever we communicate on the digital space, that particular part can be treated now as an digital evidence or a record in the court of law if there is a dispute between the parties. So this is something, a new significance which has come across in Bharatiya Sakshi Adhiniyam. I am telling all the viewers that in the coming time, probably each one of us would be a victim of this cyber crime. There is a reason for it. And the reason is that now, since we are calling the digital evidence now as a primary document, so the checking whether this document is authentic or not.
I was going to come to that. How do you authenticate?
Yeah, that's something which is very important.
Like, see, just sorry to interrupt, but like now we have, say for example, WhatsApp. It's supposed to be encrypted from sender to thing, all so many of these things, emails. But I don't know, is that, I mean, how do we authenticate?
Yeah, WhatsApp, you talk from a technical perspective, whatever is the claim is correct. But from a legal perspective, WhatsApp is end-to-end encrypted is a false statement. Well, there have been on numerous occasions where at the judicial forum, at the law enforcement forum, I have showed this as a live. WhatsApp claims that it is end-to-end encrypted. We have a common analogy in the IT world. What you see is what you get.
Okay.
Now I am telling you, in WhatsApp specifically, what you see is not what you get, which means that what has been sent, the same thing which is coming at the receiving end technically is correct, but legally the same particular thing could be modified or made to show that this was something which was sent by the sender, but in reality it is not so.
Harold, what about emails?
Emails become more problematic than the WhatsApp chats.
Okay.
The reason is that email can be generated from anybody's email ID to any person in this universe without knowing the password.
Okay.
So if the law enforcement agency just takes a mere printout of an email and makes it an admissible document in the court of law, and if the court also appreciates it, so this is a email which looks to be an original, actually it is need not. Because there are instances where now it has been seen that email IDs are spoofed and the contents also are spoofed.
Contents also can be spoofed.
The contents also are spoofed, the IDs also are spoofed, and therefore in today's situations, people giving an email ID to any unknown person, we never know whether he or she can become a victim of an email crime. So things have become in that situation as on now. And when we talk about the WhatsApp point of view, I say technically yes, but legally no, because all what is receiving at the receiver's end, it's not the same thing which is sent by the sender. And if the police starts believing that as WhatsApp as an end-to-end encryption.
Well, what about, like, we were talking about emails, right? And then we were talking about WhatsApps. This is the receiver and the sender, two different. How do you, like, why do you say that it's not the what you actually send and what you receive are completely two different things? Why do you say that?
Actually, that's a bug in which how WhatsApp was made. And I'm sure that WhatsApp should take the cognizance of it and have that particular bug to be removed. Because when you talk about end-to-end encryption, it means that what you send to me the same thing has to come on my device. Correct. And it should be only in a readable form.
Correct.
It should not have any attributes where there any modifications would be done. Now it's very important to note that once you send a WhatsApp image to me or a WhatsApp chat to me, on my device when it comes, it's not only in the readable form, it's also in the writable form. So the changes could be made. And if this piece of an evidence is produced to the law enforcement agency, and if at all they don't apply the mind by doing a proper cyber forensic, then in that case, it's completely, I would say, a system where a person won't get justice, because he will say that this is not what I have sent. So this is basically a bug which WhatsApp has into that. And this bug, till the time it has not been removed, I would certainly say that in the BSA, Bharatiya Sakshi Adhiniyam, this is a primary document. And being a primary document, it doesn't require any other conclusive information to come with. But I would say that this should always be corroborated. This cannot be taken as a gospel truth to say that what you send to me is the same thing I have received. What you send to me, I may not receive the same thing on my device.
So, like every other evidence, whatever evidence the law enforcement agencies put against an ex person has to be corroborated, right? Otherwise it can be a major issue.
Absolutely. In fact, any electronic evidence should not be taken as a conclusive one. It always has to be corroborated. Even when you talk about SMS, you send something to me and I may receive something else. Now that also is a piece of an electronic evidence.
Obviously,
A
yes.
digital record.
Correct.
We talk about locations. We talk about the Google map. So I may show I am with you at this moment, but at this very moment I can show you that I am somewhere in Jaipur. And if these digital artifacts of the location evidence are being taken by the cops and then produced in the court, and if there is no proper examination of this document being done, this can actually take the law enforcement agency in the wrong direction, and it can also make the court also go in a wrong way of making that part to be understood as a factual evidence, which in reality it is not so.
So many times we find in the courts and all that, it's application of mind many times is not there. Means you don't go and see you don't look at the पर्दे के पीछे क्या है, you just look at what is on face value and you go. Many times this has happened, right? And the investigative agencies have used this, they have heard on the fact. So many instances that's happened, right?
That's why, see, actually the court is not an investigating agency.
Okay, it just checks the facts.
Yeah. What is brought on record in the court, it only examines that.
And it assumes that it is absolutely right, gospel truth.
Yeah, it assumes, but then over the last 5-6 years, when I am training the judicial officers pan India, almost about 12,000 judges, now these judges are now questioning. So they are not taking it as a gospel truth. You have a printout of a WhatsApp chat, they will ask you the procedure. You take a printout of an SMS, they will ask you the procedure. Actually, it is a law enforcement agency which has to take the cognizance of this. They have to understand how this has to be investigated, how to find the truth, and then present it in the court. Otherwise, there will be a doubt, and most of these particular matters which may be fit for conviction will go in the acquittal mode.
Yeah, but Harold, now I'm not saying this because I have seen, now we have covered crime over the years. As a journalist, your first beat is normally crime. So we see police, now we have covered crime in lots of parts of India, not only in Goa. So we see the cop, the Havaldar or the head constable and then the PSI, BSI. You see the same guy there sitting in the office taking down complaints of people, then writing the panchnamas, accident, he will go, head constable will go. Investigation, the PSI will go. If there is a riot, the same guys will go. If there's some bandobast or some senior politician comes, VIP, and then the PI, there is one guy. So how is it possible for a person, for a constable, head constable, PSI, who's on duty for 12, 24 hours continuous, election time they are all on the streets, tough life, tough job, but investigation is a different type of a beast. It needs proper procedures. Now, even if you see here, even murders and all, there will be the full janta will be there around this thing. Where is the forensic evidence? You just forget about, you're talking about what you're talking about, cyber evidence and digital. It's a very specialized thing. Normal evidence cannot be collected, and there is no proper procedure, there is no proper training. Don't you see this in an everyday basis when you interact with the cops? How can a guy who's 24 hours is on the road? I mean, if there's some major problem in India, it's happening every second day, even in Goa. How is he going to investigate forget about murder, just some robbery? Tough, right?
True. Actually,
or maybe some swiping people, money has disappeared. How is he going to do?
it's a very valid question. In fact, the same person who is doing investigation which is non-technical is also doing a technical investigation.
And he's also doing traffic duty, also is doing bandobast duty, also is doing riot duty, also is doing 101 duties, VIP protection, shifting convicts to jail.
So actually it's jack of all trades but master of none.
Of nothing.
Yeah. But see what has happened now. In the past 15 days, the government of India has come up with a mission called as Cyber Commando.
Okay.
And
but you agree that this is happening?
Absolutely, I agree, because in the past about 15 to 16 years I have seen that the conviction rate of cybercrime is extremely poor.
Okay.
It's not even in the single digit.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's not even the single digit.
Okay.
So the reason for being poor is, as what you rightly said, that's the reason that why the conviction rate of cybercrime is very poor. The source of how the seizure is done, the investigation is done, if there is a lapse at the procedural part, the court will have no other option but to get that matter to be acquitted, because there is a doubt which is created in the mind of the court. So the problem which takes place is at the seizure point, is at the procedural lapse, and there has to be proper SOPs, the standard operating procedures, which today are being followed at some places in pockets, but not universally in a holistic manner. That's basically the problem which is there now. And now in the last 15 days we have seen the Home Minister has come up with a plan of execution also, that in the next 5 years about 5,000 police officers shall be trained, and they will be trained as cyber commandos. I personally feel that 5,000 is too less.
I was going to ask you that.
Yes, that 5,000 is too less. But in the country there are 9 institutes of repute which have been picked up, and these institutes now will conduct training to these 5,000 policemen for the next 5 years. In the next 5 years we are having a capacity building of having to train 5,000 policemen exclusively in cyber crime domain.
They won't go on the roads.
No,
they won't go traffic.
No,
they won't go anywhere.
Exclusively only on this.
Okay.
And they will be told right from the basic level of investigation, from the seizure to the procedure point of view, to all the new jargons we are talking about, AI, machine language, so on and so forth. So going forward, I feel that in the next 6 to 8 months down the line, we will find a better level of investigation, and I am sure that when there is a better level of investigation, the conviction rate also may go high. But in having said that, conviction rate going higher is not the final outcome. The final outcome of the court is to have justice, and in that justice, if it is a fit for acquittal, it has to be an acquittal. But today there are cases which are being seen that because of the procedural lapse, they go into the acquittal mode.
You talk about 99 point something cases, 99%. if your figures of conviction are right. See, but that is very scary. Why? I'll tell you. Now, for example, we hear so many cases. In fact, it has happened to some of the people that we are connected to here also. There is a call from the central agencies wherein they say, no, your daughter is caught in some drug scandal, or you are engaged in money laundering. And then there was a case earlier also which you had made me aware of, that calls used to be coming to parents that their children were being kidnapped, and they were so. This is happening on every day. You hear some guy has got scammed, and some lady has got scammed, and somebody every day. Second thing, your cards, the money is you have, suddenly you get a message that you're sitting at home and somebody is using your card somewhere halfway across the world. All these things are happening today at a huge level. And what do we do? How do we? Are 5,000 people enough? 5 lakhs I don't think will be enough. What do you say?
Yeah, absolutely right. I think that's the starting. Maybe once this program gets to be started, maybe
this is happening, right?
Yeah, it's happening. It's happening in a rampant way. The reason because of this, I feel that we have a Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, such a nice concept. We have seen, on the roads and all, to a large extent we have seen better things. As comparable to Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, we also now require Swachh Cyber Abhiyan, which untimely it's not so. Now when you're talking about like this calls coming in, extortion, okay, and the calls coming to the parents saying that your child is in my custody, I'm calling from a so and so police station, you have to come over here, come with the money. All this particular part which comes, just last few days ago, a lady died, and then she got a call from a police station saying that your child is in my custody, you have to pay 2 lakhs. It's not the matter of that 2 lakhs, it's the matter of that the child was there in the custody of that XYZ person who was not a cop, and he said that if you are, and then he made the voice of the child to be heard to the mother, and that was basically a recorded voice. So she thought that it is my child, and in that particular fear she died. So today technology has gone to a say where instead of being used for a positive purpose, it is also being used for a negative purpose also. And having said that, when you talk about like this type of calls which are coming, basically we have something called as VoIP calls, voice over internet protocol, and these VoIPs are not safely guarded. So tomorrow, if at all I want to make a call from your number to your assistant, I don't require your SIM card, I don't require your device,
just internet connection.
I just require an internet connection. I will use a VoIP server which is freely available on the internet, and I can make a call to your colleague. when the call comes to your colleague, your number will be displayed, and I will say that Glenn is unwell, he is so and so hospitalized, and so immediately you come to this particular place at so and so time. You come with 50,000 rupees. He will come. You think that okay, you are hospitalized, so on and so forth, but actually you never made the call. These are all possibly which are taking place on VoIP, voice over internet protocol. They have to be safely guarded. Number two, you have lot of particular people coming under digital arrest. The other day, one of the industrialists lost 7 crore rupees. Digital arrest has become a very common mantra in the country now, where they get a call, and they get a call saying that in your Aadhaar card and PAN card there is a bank account which is open, and that particular bank account has got some Ponzi money coming in that account, and for which we want to investigate you. And then they will use that there is a, under the Pradhan Mantri Yojana scheme, Pradhan Mantri scheme, online investigation is there. They will use some jargon saying that even the Supreme Court has now given that, online you can have, your particular court proceedings and all can take place online. So the other day the person lost 7 crore rupees. He got a person impersonating that I am calling from CBI. There's a account which is created with your PAN card and Aadhaar card, and come on Skype call. He went on the Skype call, and for 2 days he was being investigated online.
Interrogated online.
And the Honorable Chief Justice of India was also seen, faked, AI, and he passing the orders. And that order was shown online to him, really? That you have to pay 7 crores.
Really?
That's what happened. That's what is
very, very creative, I must say.
Yeah. And then he thought that it is something which is, the Supreme Court has given this order, and he paid that 7 crore rupees, and the person at the other end said that, look, all this money will be returned back to you so far as you find out that there is no particular onus of any crime which you have done. And some of them also use that all this money what you are getting access to check whether any money you have received in whatever purpose, illegal purpose. So all whatever money is there, that particular money will go into an account of a person who is a auditor nominated by RBI. He will check that account, he will check for all those digital artifacts, and if he finds there is nothing wrong, all the money will be transferred back into the account. People think, okay, it's an RBI auditor, people think it is CBI, people think it is Supreme Court, and they fall victim to it. So these digital arrests have gone to an extent where in the days to come, every third to fourth person can succumb to such type of frauds. The only difference is that previously the crimes and all used to take place in one jurisdiction. Now the jurisdiction is entirely different. It may take place from anywhere in the world.
But how, I know technology and AI and all that, it gives you so much of freedom, but this sort of a thing which is happening on a regular basis, is there no way we can try and sort it out? What do we do? What is the okay, before we move on to the next, let's go in for a small break. This we need to get into a few more details about this, plus also what we can possibly do to try and safeguard ourselves. Harad has given me a solution which I don't think will be feasible for most people. Anyway, keep watching. We'll come back soon after the break.